I'm going to go ahead and make my cover and the hinges for my book. So the pages are 4¼ inch square. So I thought I'd make my cover 4½ inches square. So I have these scraps of chipboard left from the last album I made. And so I've just saved an old blade. And so I'm just going to take out my good blade somewhere. And then put in this older blade. And now I'm just going to cut these pieces. I need 2 pieces, 4½ inch square. So I'll just line that up. And so to cut the chipboard, it's kind of hard. So if you set it in the middle and then go back and forth. Oops, that kind of moved. And just go back and forth several times. And then flip it over, kind of bend it so you can see that score line, and then line that up. And voila! So now I just need to cut it the other way. Get it 4½. So put it in the middle and set the blade. And then you can go back and forth. Pull that a little bit so I can see it better. Better. And there we go. So I'll do one more just like that. The pages, I want a little bit of room between them. So if I hold the centers or the end of the pages and just let them kind of fan out naturally, it's about 1½. So I think if I do a 2-inch wide spine, that will be good. So I'll want the length 4½ to match the covers. So I'll cut this at 4½. Oh my, that moved again. Let's do this from the other side. Oh man, that doesn't want to cut very well. Maybe if I just kind of perforate it with my blade first. There we go. Oh my. Oh, that was tough. I did not want the cut. Okay, now do 2 inches this way. Let's see, hopefully it will cut a little bit easier. But it is not. My blade must be getting pretty dull. Okay, there are my pieces for my cover. I'm just going to use, I think this is Recollections brand. So what you need is a piece that is, it will need to be 4½ plus 1 inch at the top and 1 inch at the bottom. So 5½, so 6½ by the length. So I'm going to need 2 pieces of cardstock to wrap the cover. And so I'm just going to use some tape. So I have 4.5 plus 4.5, which is 4.5 plus 4.5 is 9. Plus 2 is 11. Plus 2 inches at each end is 13. Plus a little bit. Maybe if I use my grid to kind of, oh, you can't see. Move the camera over just a little bit. There we go. So if I use my grid, I can kind of line this up so I can figure out the width that I need. So you need to make sure you have some space in between to allow for it to bend. And so that makes it makes it 12 and a quarter, so 13, no, 12 and a half, so 13 and a half. So I need it 13 and a half inches long. Oh, I won't be able to, I'll have to use my grid here on the mat to mark that. 13 and a half. There's a pencil. Just gonna make a little mark at each end. And oh, there it is. Trim that up. That should be right. Okay. All right. So now we've got this. And so that should give us an inch all around, plus room for the covers and the spine and room in between. Okay, so next we need to score this at 1 inch all around, and that helps us to line it up easily. There. Oh, that will do, I think. At least got us to the corner there. I think that'll work. All right. So now I need to put tape on my chipboard. So something like that, but you only need it on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to the spine and the other side and be right back. Okay, so you may want to like dry fit this first. And so you know your first one's going to want to go right in the corner on those score lines. And then your spine, what to do with the chipboard? You need about 2 thicknesses of chipboard in between. there, I think. And then here. And so, you know, you can make pencil marks and stuff, but I think I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So, scoot this up a little bit. So I'm going to start at this side. All right, now it's going to line this top part right, goes that side, right up here with this top score, and then burnish that down really good. Okay, and then I'll do my spine piece. There we go. Okay, so you want about, I don't know, about a 1/4 inch, I think. Just make sure that those are nice and straight. Burnish that down. And then the back. Okay, so I think I made this just a smidgen longer than I needed it to be. So I'm going to go just lining up with the spine and the top and the bottom more than this other edge. Because I think I made it just a little bit longer than I needed to. And burnish that down. Turn it over and burnish really good. And this seam won't matter because we're going to be putting some paper to cover the top. I'll just make sure that that's the back. Okay, so now we're going to wrap these around. So we're going to put tape along the top here and along the top of the chipboard. That will give us a good... You don't need to go all the way to the corner because you're going to be trimming that. But you do want it somewhat to the corner. All the way across like that. And do the same thing on the chipboard. And kind of get that down in the gap there. Okay. Okay, kind of overlapped that a little bit. Again, burnish these down so that you can get the back off. Okay, so I'm gonna pre-fold this. So if you just use the book to help get that fold going, that helps. We want to miter the corners, but you don't want to cut it right against the chipboard. You want to leave about, again, a 1/4 inch. So you can measure and draw a line, or you can just eyeball. And that might be not quite enough. All right, so let's start with this top edge. And if you use your bone folder, you can get a nicer nicer fold. Just kind of work it. And get that burnished down good. One side. There. Okay, now let's do the opposite side. So the corners, you want to use your bone folder and kind of fold them in like that, and that will hide the corners of the chipboard. For the, let's use this. So you want to get in here and crease these and kind of fold them up slowly. And you don't want to fold it flat, you just want to get it to a 90-degree angle. Like that. And do the same thing for the other side. Just kind of work those fibers. Doesn't crack. Okay, so there we go. All right, so there is our cover.